Hello, it's my face behind the Second Run Arts logo. Hello, it's just my face. Thank you all for joining us from the living room. My name is Sam Rubenstein. I am your host tonight for Second Renaissance Art. We are a arts education program that provides arts programming, education, classes, live events, and more. So thank you all for tuning in right now. We have a phenomenal lineup of poets and a comedian, just one for tonight. And if you are interested, please join us by registering for the open mic. I will put the link in the chat so this way you can find it. If you would like to join us for the open mic, please register below so we can send you a link to get online. Without further ado, I'm gonna, jump right into some poems, get us started with, one or two things, and then we're gonna introduce our amazing features. So first off, I will like to start with the title poem from my new upcoming manuscript entitled "A Candle Regaining Strength." We'll start there. Oh, here we go. The nights have felt so long recently. An unwavering dark sprawled across the night sky, covering everything. But today, I saw a light flickering in the distance, a candle regaining strength, fighting against the wind. The sun is rising soon. Morning is coming, and when it does, it shall be beautiful. And then I'll do just one more little one that makes me happy. This poem's called Imagining and Knowing. I imagine. I start a lot of poems with the phrase, I imagine. I imagine myself someplace better. I imagine you and I in love. I imagine the world, but different. I imagine. And I imagine that I use this phrase because I have a very vivid imagination, one that warrants storytelling and poetry. And I imagine that these words could carry weight, that I could build grand structures on the back of an imaginary life that I see myself living. But I know that isn't the case. I know this phrase is nothing but an easy escape, a temporary departure from a world that teeters between monstrous and mundane. I know that I am still sitting here, afraid to leave. And I know how lonely that feels. I know how the world can look through black and white lenses. And I know that I end my poems often thinking about everything that isn't true. I play with reality like I know so little that it may seem childish, but it isn't. Because more than anything, I know myself. I know how much I want the world to not hurt. I know how much I try. I may never create anything worth a single second of this life. I know this. But still, I like to imagine anyway. Thank you. Really excited right now to introduce our first first poet of the night. This guy does not need an introduction. But we're gonna give him one. He is someone I've performed with for a very long time. We used to talk back in the good old days of Brookdale that we were gonna do poetry one day. We're gonna make art. And it's weird to see where we are more than 10 years later. So without further ado, Damien Rucci is a poet from New Jersey, the author of 6 chapbooks, including Corrupt the Youth, Don't Call It a Relapse, and Don't Call It a Relapse. He is the host of Poetry in the Port, Bards Off Broadway, Puff Puff Poems and Punchlines. He's a member of the poetry troupe New Prophets of Poetic Discord, and he's the official poet laureate of every single 7-Eleven that exists in New Jersey, all of them. Welcome to the virtual stage, Damien Rucci.
Hey man, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here, my guy. You've got the floor. I'm glad to see you.
Glad to see you. I fixed my audio issues. It turns out I had my headphones on. Everything's going great. If everybody's watching, I'm the king of technical difficulties. I'm a one device kind of guy.
I think we did this. We chose one device for this reason. So
Appreciate it.
all right. Thank you for being here.
All right. Thank you guys for giving me the floor tonight. I'm going to read a couple poems. As Sam said, my name is Damien Rucci, and I am the official poet laureate of every 7-Eleven in New Jersey and Wawa. Thank you very much. I want to read a couple poems. Come out to my shows, and thanks for being here. This is called Melancholy and the Afterglow. You could throw all the rocks from here to Norwood Avenue up to heaven, but they'll always find home again in the earth, maybe in different places, maybe find new homes down in the silk grasses of privilege, but they'll always be covered in dirt. Then why do we mourn dawn? Hold on to the black skies of transcendence as light rays remind us we're still ourselves. They remind us that any enlightenment that comes in a baggie is another layer we hide the truth behind. After all, the higher you climb, the worse it hurts falling back down. Thank you. This next poem, so by the way, right now I'm like essentially squatting at a bank in downtown Red Bank. So it's fitting that I do a poem about eating the rich and poor shit. This is called When You're Poor. When you're poor, you're always fucking or fighting. Always fucking because there's never anything to do but thrust and moan. And when that's done, then you're fighting. Fighting to keep the lights on. Fighting to keep the bills paid. Fighting to find change to do the laundry. And fighting with that landlord about the $50 he's still missing. But it could be worse. You could always be waiting again. Waiting for the electricity company to finally kill the lights. Waiting for that check to hit your mailbox. Waiting for the winds to blow luck your way for once. So a while ago, and I had this really shitty apartment in Keyport, and like you couldn't close the windows. And so February was rough, and I got my fiance, the poet Rebecca Weber, Japanese fighting fish is what she wanted. It was like really cool, like, you know, shit was getting bad, but there was like this little life, and you know, it was a fish, but you know, it was cool. And then one day we woke up and like the bowl was like frozen. And this is about that. It's called The Winter Now. It's winter now. The fish is dead. Rebecca wanted a Japanese fighting fish. We found a female scarlet and captivating as sirens beckoning lost captains ashore. She named it Andromeda, Andy for short. And it brought her happiness to feed her. A little extra life goes a long way in the middle of a wasteland. Then winter came like an icy giant, wrapped our belongings in frost. Only one of the radiators breathed heat, and the bathroom window couldn't be shut. At night, we lay under piles of blankets, sometimes wear our jackets to sleep, pray that what they said about body heat was true when we'd awake in the morning. That morning came in February. We shook the cold from our bones. Rebecca went to feed Andy, but the bowl was frozen solid. Andy's life ended in a glacier. It's winter now. The fish is dead, and we gave her a fish's funeral, flicked ashes into the toilet bowl, and flushed her out of our concerns. I heard freezing to death isn't so bad. They say you become euphoric, get really warm, and then just go to sleep. I hope we make it through this winter, and we don't have to find that out for ourselves. Thank you. So I worked a lot of bullshit jobs in my life. Right now I'm an apprentice butcher, and I can't say no more because my company's watching my social media. But this is about working overnight with the overnight guys. And you can find poetry and camaraderie and community anywhere you go if you look for it. We call it a good time. We don't call it addiction or demon or parasite. We call it a good time. We call it inspiration. We call it a good lay. We call it morning's breath. And we laugh at the world while sniffing powder off of the dirty table with a McDonald's straw. They got it all wrong, man. Them suits, them somebodies, them beloved souls, them unbroken who walk on the hands of their ancestors' fortunes so to never know the asphalt. We start dodging daylight, covering the window with towels. The floor became consumed with aluminum cans. We haven't seen the kitchen in months. This one-room studio grows possessed, swims through our bones, breathes evil, makes us throw furniture at the walls, bare teeth, and snarl at each other. This room don't want us to leave. That's why we start making sacrifices to it, giving up friends and hobbies, taking our money and buying it more fuel, more powder, more herb. We're exhausted. But it calls for us when we go to sleep. When we leave in the middle of the night, we take our clothes and just go. We don't call it a good time. We don't call it inspiration. We don't call it a good lay anymore. We call it death's omen. Thank you. And I fucked up slightly. That was just a poem about being a degenerate. Oh, sorry, man. Oh, hold on. I'm doing a virtual show right quick. I'll see you over there. Oh, you go there? Yeah, to the right. Sorry. This is the poem about having a deadbeat job. Hounds speak. I'm going to do this and one more. At 3 a.m., the hounds are let out for lunch. We bark, growl, bare teeth, howl at the lone cars on the highway. We're comrades in this spiritual war, poor derelicts fighting to find self in those hours before morning. On those breaks in between, we drink what we can, sniff what we find, smoke until our lungs combust. The ones who have it take care of those who don't. We jump in temporary freedom until the time clock calls us back inside. In those hours on the sales floor, you have time to think, reflect, and all the dark things you try and ignore in the sun. The things you say have weight under those fluorescent lights. Like bees buzzing between your ears, you must address them. When the morning comes, we emerge gaunt, pale, eyes cowering from the light, scurrying off to our homes. We sleep the day away, ignore the ones we love, carry the hurt close to our chest, and breathe again at midnight. This is less of a job. This is a way of life. We may not be able to hide away from the world forever, but we're certainly trying. All right, I'm going to do one more poem. I want to thank you guys for being here with me today and putting up my shit. I got scared, so I told you I'm squatting at that bank to do this. I saw somebody come up from the distance. Thought it was a security guard, you know. Another poem about anti-rich. It's called Working Class Anxiety. I'll end it on this. You know, it's about robbing armored trucks. Sundays are for picking what we can live without. They cut my hours at work again, so something's getting shut off. If we eat one big meal in the afternoon, I could steal something at work and we'll be okay. The internet and cable are going. We'll have to borrow the neighbors. My feet are calloused and raw. I haven't had socks in months. These rubber soles are holy. My feet tear at the asphalt. I have working class anxiety, living paycheck to paycheck. I want to be a good man, but I have to make sure we're taken care of. I watch the armored truck park in front of the store, and I dream of adventure, of wrestling the guard to the ground, breaking away with more money than anyone in my neighborhood has ever seen. I'd buy us a good apartment on the good side of town, buy my mom a car so she can get to work, buy my little brother an education, take us out of this cycle that turns hardworking people into criminals and addicts and mass cards. The truck pulls away, with it my hopes. I think of all those working class casualties, all those boys with good in their hearts serving mandatory minimum sentences, all those families stuck on welfare. The American dream is only for those who can afford it. The rest of us sleep dreamless with empty pockets. We find our vices and use anything to get us to tomorrow. That tomorrow feels a lot like today, but we all have some big fantasy. I guess we all have an armored truck. Thank you, guys. I'm sorry for the pedestrian disrupting. Thanks, Sam. Are you muted?
I'm muted. I messed up. Hold on. I just want to be known as the person who was, threatened with gun violence at a performance.
Yes.
You would be the first one to get arrested mid-performance.
Dude, I got scared. I'm like behind this bank, like a gentleman, totally not weird at all that this fat guy is screaming poetry into his phone. And I hear, woo! And I turn, and there's this dude coming up. And it's just open micer. Thank God. Oh, scared me, son.
Oh,
Thanks a lot, Sam, for having me.
thank you for being here. All right, everyone. That was Damien Rucci. Thankfully, not getting arrested while performing. Um, Although it would be slightly on brand. Um, you know, our next performer comes from the far off land of New York City. They are a absolute delight to talk to. And I am so happy that they're here. So let's just jump right into this introduction. Elizabeth Sophia Strauss, also known as Deadpan Lizzie, also known as the Beanie God, is an author, producer, and real estate advisor residing in the New York City. ES is a founder and producer of the Broadway Brokers Network and the Broadway Stage Management Symposium. Several of her essays, poems, and plays have been produced and published, and in 2021, she was featured in the Touching Tongues anthology with Red or Green Books. She has two more anthologies and a solo book due out in 2022. She's been a guest artist at the Dramatist Guild Foundation, where her plays have had labs. Additionally, Elizabeth Strauss is the host of the Deadpan Dope Tuesdays with The Word Is Right, and has guest hosted several programs with Finnacabulary. She regularly performs her poetry at the New Eurekan Cafe, Poets Cafe, BWOMS, and other in-person and online open mics. She has been a Broadway artist for a decade, working on several Tony Award-winning productions, and has taught theater studies at NYU, University of Rhode Island, Deutsche Pop in Austria and Germany, and of course at the Broadway Stage Management Symposium, as well as educating through the miniseries. Elizabeth Strauss has created and produced and available as has created and produced as available podcast, real estate, theater, and mini art series. And she has completed and has coached golf professionally on Long Island, New York City, while doing marketing for professional athletics, as well as a marathon runner. She will be competing in the inaugural Brooklyn Marathon in April. With that said, in short, she's a wordsmith and would like a nap. And after reading that, I kind of do as well. Welcome to the stage, Deadpan Lizzie. Deadpan, thank you for being here. I remember before this going, is everyone okay with me reading their bio that they sent me? And you said nothing.
Oh, you did. You know what? I should have texted you. I sound like a cocky capitalist asshole from that bio.
That is the really best introduction ever. I'm exhausted.
I am exhausted and want a nap, which is why I pushed running my marathon till the fall and not April, because I'm just run down. I've already completed a marathon, so I don't need to run another one right away.
Oh, and I can't run a single marathon, so you're better than me at that.
You can. It took me till I was 30 to get there. So it just takes time and patience and not a polar vortex to train in, which is the other reason I postponed it till the fall.
I sprained my ankle tripping literally today. So I don't know.
That's a special talent.
Thank you. Speaking of special talents, we're excited to see your amazing words. Take it away whenever you are ready.
Thank you, and I hope you are feeling okay, Sam. That sucks that you twisted your ankle, and I hope you ice it and feel better. All right. Also, you're gonna have to stop me at 15 minutes, or I'll just run my mouth like the Jewish woman I am.
Can do.
All right. So this first poem I'm gonna read is called "Let It Be." I march to the beat of my own drum, certainly not to Ringo's. Something about me many do not know, and I'm finally ready to come out and say after almost 30 years, I do not like the Beatles. And it feels so freeing to finally say it aloud. I am not like the many who twist and shout to their music, and to be clear, for those scowling as I sit on my carpet or tricep dipping coffee table, soapbox, I said I do not like their music, not hate. Hate is a strong word. But the four Brits have never made my soul cry or feet move. Anna, Madonna, Prudence, Martha, Julia, and Sadie. And no, I'm not just listing women I've slept with, though Sadie was very sexy. These songs, their lyrics, they just make me feel nothing, except for one. Some would say the saddest song ever written, Eleanor Rigby. I happen to love this song. Though not the original, Chick Corea's cover, may his memory be a blessing. But yes, Eleanor. Maybe this Cancer Sun, Aries Moon, and Sagittarius Rising is deader inside than I thought, though I'm sure some would say lonely. Eleanor Rigby. When I visit England, I will not stand in the middle of Abbey Road for an Instagram photo. That photo does make me cringe. Paul's bare feet. I cannot stand it. But as individuals, I do enjoy their musicality. Ringo reminding us that life does go on. Linda and Paul not writing silly love songs. George is George. And of course, John, who was a Libra whose scales were not balanced. But I do love Yoko, and I do imagine all the people living in peace. Like I said, I march to the beat of my own drum. I'm uniquely me. Let it be. This next piece I'm going to read is called I'm a Realist. I am me, as you can see, and to those who feel I am a woman of many personas, I am not. I may have a lot of nicknames, nothing wrong with that, but I'm a multi-talented person, nothing wrong with that either. And I may have many different interests, and I'm full of composition. I'm a full composition, not a single note. So to those who do not enjoy my Bob Newhart sense of humor or my deadpan self, fuck off. Very dry and blunt, as you'll get to see in my poetry. In this poem, I actually dedicated to Bob Newhart. It's called My Long Lost Deadpan Twin. I consider him a poet. He is me, and I am him. We have never met, but we share a very specific commonality. We are simply deadpan. We tell it like it is. We have no fucks left to give. We just say it and hope it lands well. His dry Chicago charm intertwined with my New York blunt. He may not be a traditional poet, but he is one of my favorites. I know we would enjoy each other's company, tossing deadpan art and humor back and forth with one another. A game of catch with my long lost twin, Bob Newhart. This is the first poem I ever wrote back in 2015. It's called Bloody Masada, which is also featured in one of my plays later, Alligator. I hear them coming, their steps like a pack of wild elephants chasing us down. The sounds grew closer, and I was stuck. My only hope was to climb her. She has stood strong since her birth. She is my only chance at survival. The pounding is near. It will not get softer. Run, run, run. With one swift move of my sword, I am off, scaling her. I only see the color of my people red. I wear their color on my body. I am a canvas of ideas, bravery, and anger. I charge my way up, ideas dying in front of me. Their souls slowly feed into mine as I get closer and closer and closer. I feel the sharpness of her every step up. Now my colors lie on her. I see it as close as heaven. I'm here. My colors may lay on her, but I did not let them win, and I lay it here to rest forever. So at the end of 2021, I created a style of poetry called pankus, pan coming from deadpan. Pankus are 9-word poems or 9 lines of 9-word poems or 9 stanzas, 9 lines each, 9 words each. And I will have a book coming out later this year called Kundubini, which is all different styles of pankus. This first one is just 9 words. It's called Belch Roar. When I belch, I sound like King Kong roaring. The second panku is 9 lines, 9 words each. It's called 9 Exhausted or Scared Pankus. My neck hurts with no one to rub it. My sore body tired of my heavy throbbing mind. My tired mind bored of my aching body. My hands that sting from the cold need someone who needs someone here to make them warm again. My brain exhausted from watching HBO and hot screens. Watching what is outside my window, hoping for help, longing for some of what they have going on. I don't have this, and I'm curious if I will. Excuse me, just getting to the next one. This next piece is called, sorry, I'm getting used to the Chrome. This next piece is called Keeping the Lighting Contained. Catching lightning in a bottle twice, 99% would say impossible, 1% no otherwise. They say you cannot have your heart broken more than once. Wandering the mean streets, walking all over the pieces of broken hearts that have been repeatedly shattered. 99% of the souls unsure if the pieces will reattach. 1% know they will. Falling in love all over again. Getting your heart broken again. Step and repeat. Catching lightning in a bottle twice, not impossible, but keeping the lighting contained, impossible. This piece is called Unapologetically. Fixating on the cracks, straining the eyes, putting more stress on our souls and bodies. When we look up at the cracks, reflect upon them, try to understand why the once pristine surfaces are no longer perfect, remembering perfect does not exist. Look through and then past the cracks, let them melt into the universe instead of letting them exhaust us unapologetically. This next piece is called Hues of Red. Hues of red floating up in the sky, in the pebbles scattered on the walkways, in the bed sheets when my eyes are shut. The color of anger, pain, romance, and sensuality, death. I try not to think about that last one. Many emotions in one stanza, a thought-provoking hue. And yet sometimes you cannot bring yourself to look at it. Wish it did not exist. The world would be a very different place without it. One I wish to never live in. A positive thought about the color red, my favorite form of it. A long stem rose, pure and simple, holding every emotion that exists. My favorite emotion, not until all the petals fall back into the earth will I tell. I'm going to read two. I think you're muted.
Oh, you told me to come in. You got two more. You got two more. Finish those. You got it.
Okay. Oh, you know what? How many more minutes do I actually have? Because I really don't want to run over.
No, take those two more. You're good.
All right. Well, this one is short, and then I'm going to end with it's not too long, but relatively longer piece. Thank you so much for listening to my set, everyone. This is called Gray Sunsets. Gray sunsets, holding the day's bad taste, sorrow, fears, negativity draining into the evening and back into the cold night waves. Why such gloom in the last 24 hours? Our perception. Why do we perceive gray with negativity? Why do we retreat to the unsure in our lives? Gray can be seen as bold, regal, professional, taking action, control back. I find more answers in gray areas over rainbows. Gray days bring life, rain, snow, happiness, joy. Gray sunsets, where the souls who march to the beats of their own drummers thrive. I'm going to leave you with one final poem. If I can find it, I will leave you with one final poem. This piece I wrote in December. It's called Pulling Muscles from a Shell. A year ago and change, I said during a tarot reading I would never fall for a scorpion. I've always been too afraid of their sharp claws. Us crabs have some pinchers too. But we are soft shell versus a rough knife. My heart could not help but get pinched by your claws and smothered by your curvy tail. Your 8 legs strangled me, and I did not care that my air pipe was blocked. I thought you wanted to connect. I played the ping pong game of intimacy. Our steps on the dance floor while we tangoed in the Turkish nightclub in almost perfect sync. But as I tell you over and over again, life will never be perfect. Why try to justify it? When we are blinded by intimacy, sex, and emotions, we bury our rules with our bottom feeders. You know there has always been a volcano constantly erupting next to me. And with you, I let it overflow from exhaustion, the truth, the pain that had been keeping me up at night, as well as your words. Wondering if I'm reading too much into the poetry, we sexed each other from dawn until dusk, eating up the mixed signals you called on cue for too long. You had me at your beck and call, but did I ever have you? You throw me a curveball and I knock it out of the park. I throw you one and you are on the bench until the umpire calls the game. And I'm not someone who can keep my heart in the dirt, and it never will. It has been tattooed on my sleeve since day one. Trauma exists, given life is a walking trigger warning. But with our swords that are dealt from the tarot decks, we learn how to fight the battles, never alone. But as my body and teeth shivered faster than castanets, I had to speak up. I wore myself out, telling you how I felt, knowing it was a 50-50 shot. I let myself be vulnerable again. And though you knew you were going to reject me as it lingered on your tongue for almost 3 hours, was this your truth? I feel like I'm always pulling muscles as you cling to your shell. The muscles are not as strong as Hercules's. The beanie god is merely mortal. And as I swim around in the green sickly sea, between bridges, trying my hardest to get you to speak your truths, take responsibility, give me the clarity I deserve, I keep chugging golden milk and massaging my hands as my mouth is dry and thumb quite sore from bleeding for you day after day, no longer giving a shit the week screwed you. Karma is a you know what, you know I won't say that word, my choice, my voice. You take action like you do for our nation and give me the answers I need, or will you simply repeat like a bad song, I appreciate the honesty and I'm sorry until we reach the end of the tunnel? I'm between a rock and a hard place and on the road to hell, and unlike you, I don't want to go all the way to Hades Town. My overflowing Leo cannot take any more heat. I went from having a crush to being the mix that sits at the bottom of the ting and hurt and sticky and damn tired because we both know this was not a crush and I'm hurting because you pinched S&M water sign style and you baited and hooked, lined and sank me and I hung around like a worm and I'm tired of asking you to be vulnerable. So here I stop, letting myself heal, trying to move on. I fell hard and now I need to fall out. Come out of the sea and up for air to work on me. Will you let me? And that's the end of my set. Thank you so much for letting me share.
That was so good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming all the way from New York to be here. Like I know
all the way virtually.
Yeah, it was quite the schlep.
Yes, it was really the schlep going from therapy Zoom to the StreamYard.
So thank you again. Anything you want to say before you skididdly daddle?
No, thank you so much for featuring me with these other fabulous artists. I'm so happy we've connected this year, and thank you to Eileen Kelly if she's watching for connecting us. I'm excited to finally meet you in person one day, and if anyone is interested in reading some of my work, you can find some of my erotic poetry and touching tongues. Myself and 30 other female poets around the world came together and built this book together, and we're all very proud of it.
That's awesome. Send me the link and I will put it in the chat for everyone that wants it, okay?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. So here we go. Our next performer is going to be a little bit different. We're going to try to break up the monotony of poetry by having on someone who's hopefully funny. We're going to bring on a personal friend who I've had the joy of working with since they were young. They're still young. They have reminded us that they're the youngest performer here, but it's fine. You know, us old folks are doing our best. So without further ado, Zoe Seitz is a comedian, an actor, a performer, born in New Jersey, currently studying comedic arts up at Emerson College in Boston. They have been performing in a variety of shows, including musicals, sketch comedy, stand-up comedy, live musical performance, and more. They are a member of the sketch comedy troupe Jimmy's Traveling All-Stars and have performed all over. Please welcome to the stage a person who accidentally grabbed a microphone once and doesn't know how to let go of it, Zoe Seitz.
That was an awesome intro. Thank you.
You said, and I quote, make it a good one. And so I will do my best.
Yeah, that was the best. That was awesome. Thank you.
Zoe, we asked this before. Would you like an audience of your peers?
I'm good with or without, whatever you would like to do. I personally think that having an audience of 5 might be worse than having none.
Okay.
I don't know.
You don't need us. It's okay.
If you want to pop in when you think it's funny.
Okay, I will pop in and then leave.
Awesome.
We'll make that happen. All right. Whenever you are.
Okay, I guess the floor is mine. Hey everybody. As you can tell, I am not I mean, I haven't started anything, but I am not a poet, and I know it. Oh, wait, maybe I am. Never mind. Anyway, I'm going to be doing one of my stand-up sets for you guys today. This is a stand-up set that I wrote about my Nana. Um, I think she's watching, maybe she's not. I don't know if she knows how to work the internet. So if she's watching, hi Nana, good job, you figured it out. Here we go. So first off, how's everybody doing? Awesome. It is just like performing for my mirror. Anyway, let me introduce myself. My name is Zoe Seitz. I'm a sophomore comedy major at Emerson College. And one thing to know about me is that I am an open book and have no shame. Clearly, I am doing stand up, so I clearly never get embarrassed. And that's the most embarrassing thing to do. So, this brings me to my first story that I'm going to be sharing with you today. I'm such a quirky open book that I'm excited to share this story with you. And there was really no good way of starting this. It's kind of awkward if I were to try to figure out a good way of saying it. So, I guess I'll just start it off the way that it is. So my mom left. And I can't see anybody, but if you're thinking, wow, that's why she's like that, yes, you are correct. I don't have daddy issues. I have mommy issues. I'm fucking crazy. Yeah. Um, but don't worry. I have tons of female figures in my life that are super strong. That was always a huge concern of my dad. He was always worried, he bought the tampons, but like, where do they go? Like, but I have many, many inspiring female figures in my life that I can share with you. So, I have my Aunt Jen and I have my Nana, and that's it. So, yeah, I mean, those women have shaped me and helped me become the strong, independent, kick ass woman that I am today. So, I thought I might as well just share with you some lessons that I learned through my crazy Jewish Nana. Uh, to paint the picture so you can get an idea of what she looks like, she is a 4'11" ginger with an ambition to kill. She is one of my best friends, and she's watching this, so I have to say that, or else I'm not getting a Hanukkah present this year. Um, but this brings me to my first story. So, one life lesson that my Nana has always taught me is know your worth. Never ever get scammed. So, for those of you, I can tell that most people are from New Jersey based off of just the performers. So, many of you have heard of Princeton College. Um, that's our one big thing that we have in New Jersey. We have an Ivy League. Haha. So we have Princeton College. My Nana took my sister Emma and I there for the afternoon because I don't know. That seems like a fun thing to do. Walk around a college campus as a high schooler, make you nervous for the future. And basically, we went, and my sister and I were hungry. So we told our Nana, hey, can we maybe stop somewhere for food? Don't know what that sound was. Can we stop somewhere for food? And she said, of course, she's not going to starve us. And so we went to this little cute burger place on the corner. It was just an average burger place. It was no McDonald's. It was whatever. And we walk in, and my papa, being an older gentleman who needs to go to the bathroom, because, older people need to use the bathroom and are usually gone for about 40 minutes. So he went off, and he was just another character in the story that went off. And my Nana, we order, and the guy, you could tell he's had a long day. He goes to Princeton. He's had a long day, and he says that we need to pay now because there's a line forming, and my Nana says she doesn't have the money because my papa has it on a money belt. And for those of you who don't know what that is, sound it out. Money belt. Yeah, it's basically just a clip that has your money on it, and typically people carry around, 20, 40 bucks, but not my papa. Yeah, I have no idea what my papa does. Maybe he killed someone. Maybe he was a mobster, but he carries around the typical like $4,000. I don't know. Uh never good, never good. And so he had the money on him. And my Nana starts getting snippy with the man because the man got snippy with her. And that is a big no-no when it comes to my Nana. The guy uh gave her attitude, and at this point, let me paint the picture. My Nana was so far behind the counter that she could have made the burger for me herself. That was really, really embarrassing, but We got the burger after the Ivy League student cried and went on break, probably for forever. We were at our table and we got the food. And this is where the life lesson comes into play. How much you have to know your worth. And in that moment, I had to think to myself, how much spit is too much spit from someone else that I should ingest? Know my worth. That is just one story from my Nana. Another one that I will remember forever because it's burned into my memory and I see it every time I go to sleep as a nightmare, is the time that we went on a family cruise. My Nana and Papa, once again, have no idea what they do. Mobster, murderer, I don't know. I get some pretty good Hanukkah presents, but I always get to go on a cruise, or before pandemic, we got to go on a cruise every winter with my cousins and my aunts and my uncles, and it was all paid for by my Nana and Papa. Thank you guys if you're watching. Thank you. This is sponsored by them. Drinks on everybody from my Nana. Anyway, and basically, my Nana wanted us to always have family dinner together. No matter where we were on the cruise, we could be at the pool and some other family be somewhere else, but she always wanted the whole family to be together for family dinner. So on the first night of the cruise, my cousin Talia and I went with her to go make the reservation at the restaurant. And we went up to the man who hardly spoke any English, and what she was about to say was going to rock his whole world. She said, "Excuse me." Sorry, I'm trying to channel the Jewish grandmother New Jersey voice. "Excuse me. I need a reservation for about 18 people here in this room together." And the man looked at her in shock and said back, we can't fit 18 people at a table together. That's ridiculous." And in this moment, my cousin and I looked at each other and knew that this could go one of two ways. One, she could really like this idea. Yeah, there was no other way. So she then was an angry Raggedy Ann doll yelling at this man. That's all he knew. And we got to sit together again with spit in our food. It all worked out. But yeah, my Nana is awesome. She scares me when we go out into public together because I never know what's going to happen. She always keeps me on my toes, but through secondhand embarrassment, she has taught me to be the strong, kick-ass woman that I am today. So thank you, Nana. And this will segue me into another story that I have about something equally as embarrassing, but something that has also shaped me to be the woman that I am today. So I always knew that I think I was destined to do comedy. I know that Sam mentioned I've done, other performing things such as musical theater, and that's where I thought I was going to be. But this moment really defined my comedy career and set me forward in what I was meant to do. So let me paint the picture. I got my period. Is that a fun picture for you to envision? Perv. Anyway, I got my period. And the reason I say that I knew I was supposed to be a comedian is because I got my period on April Fool's Day. Yeah, so let's set the scene. I'm a hypochondriac, which means that I have a very big fear of being sick, a big fear of being, unwell. And when those period symptoms started coming on the first week, I had no idea what they were. I just was practically planning my funeral. And so, I get home after an exhausting day of cramping and crying and humping chairs. And I, go to the bathroom and I look down into my perfectly good Tuesday pair of underwear. And it looks as though a drunk has made a PB&J in my panties. Yeah. So I did what any logical, cool, calm, and collected sixth grader would do. I screamed bloody murder, literally. And my mom rushed to the bathroom. She came in. This was, while she was still in the picture, doing what she does best. Just wait. And so she looks down at me. And, instead of calming me, she screams right back at me. So now there's just two shrill noises, blood in my pants, and I'm freaking out. I thought I was dying. She says, "Why would you put that in your underwear? You put ketchup in your underwear? Really? What kind of April Fool's joke is this? What are you, a comedian? foreshadowing. And yeah, she basically screamed at me until she realized that me curled up on the floor in blood was not because I was a prankster. I got my womanhood my womanhood visited me that day, and she looked at me, then was happy, and did what any good Jewish mother would do. She slapped me right across the face because in the Jewish religion, you get a slap when you get your period as kind of a welcome to womanhood. Life sucks, and here it is. So, yeah, that was the day that I was launched into womanhood, into realizing that I was meant to be a comedian, and another very embarrassing life lesson that will haunt me for the rest of my days. That's my time. Thank you. You're so annoying.
Thank you. Zoe Sykes, everybody. I just want you to know that was that was good. You told me how nervous you were to do this, but like you didn't need the audience.
Thank you. I also didn't need my script apparently because halfway through my script crashed and I was like, okay, here we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's how you know you've made it. Anything I like this. Where everything's sponsored by Nana and Papa. We're doing it. Thank you for sponsoring this event, Nana and Papa. Thank you for sponsoring this business opportunity. Thank you for sponsoring a series of vending machines that will, be spread out throughout New Jersey, delivering books and knowledge to children. Thank you, Nana and Papa. Zoe, anything you want to say before you diddly daddly do?
Thank you for having me. Thank you everybody for watching. I'm hoping that there was laughter at home. I don't
you got a few like nice comments. I mean, we all had fun watching you.
Awesome. Well,
so
now that I've peed my pants,
we'll let you get yourself settled. Oh, that was Zoe Sykes, everyone. What? Those stories take some wild turns, and I'm always excited for them. With that said, we're going to keep this wild show a moving and a grooving. If you are interested in joining us for the open mic, please register at the link below, or just let me know if you're having troubles finding it through that. We'll help you out to join us here. It's all good. It's all good. With that said, we're about to jump back into some of the poetry, bring out a poet who I've had the pleasure of meeting recently and working with a good amount since I've got the chance to meet him, and every time has just been an absolute delight and a true blast. So without further introduction, let's bring out Mr. Don Krypton. Don Krypton is a native to Elizabeth, New Jersey, with a background in IT and business management. Don has always considered himself a wordsmith, writing short stories and raps in his spare time, but his true plunge into spoken word and poetry scene was inspired by a challenge given to him by the evolution. I just butchered the name of that. Evoluculture team. I feel like I butchered it again, but it's okay. And since then, he's been actively supporting the poetry community and working diligently on his own. Don Krypton fancies himself as a jack of all trades, dabbling in content creation, music and video editing, investments, philanthropy, activism, the advancements of equality for all people. He's currently the general manager of Evoluculture, one of the premier poetry organizations for the city of Newark, New Jersey. And he's going to teach me how to say that correctly because apparently I'm struggling with it right now. Welcome to the stage, Don Krypton. Don, I need your help.
When I say evolu, y'all say culture. Evolu.
Culture. Okay.
Evolu.
Culture.
Evolu.
Culture. I've met in my brain. I'm like, I've said this a bunch of times, and the moment we get up in front of a crowd, I'm just like, blah, 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 blah. Oh. Either way, I'm ecstatic to have you here.
Always great to be here. Honestly, I'm great. I'm loving being part of the New Jersey Renaissance movement. It's amazing. It's great to meet you. It's great to be a part of this show. I've probably been doing my craft the least amount of time, but I'm grateful to be here, guaranteed.
We're very glad to have you. So You have the floor. Take it away whenever you are ready.
All right. Appreciate it. Like I said, Don Krypton, General Manager, Evolute Culture from Newark. And like I said, I haven't been doing this long, but I do believe that I am a star in the making. Your boy is a star in the making, but that's the problem. I've always dreamed big, but I'm always just in the making. Problem is, I chose to surround myself with small minds. I don't know if it was ego, pride, a superiority complex, but I understand why I never reached this potential of mine. Life wasn't rough, but I ain't had no silver spoon. I know your chances of making it come once in a blue moon. So far, to drive, to survive has helped me stay alive. But now I got a little more time. I'm in the process of reworking my mind. The passion for the spoken word has finally been revived. But if you take a look through my mind and press rewind, you'll understand and figure out why I've been so far behind. If you're in a room with four fools, there's actually five. I was in that room so long, I'm surprised I still got brain cells alive. I was the smartest man in the room and I was losing my strive for greatness. And when it all fell down around me, I was wondering why. I realized that I wasn't changing my life, but my life was passing me by. When I fall, I always knew I could rely on my book smarts, but I was a complete fool, a tool that matters at the heart. I was still stubborn, arrogant, full of foolish pride, and when everything hit the fan, it could have led to suicide. It takes a little while, but when you finally realize it, losing everything sometimes becomes a blessing in disguise. It becomes clear to you when you get a chance to focus your mind's eye, when you get back on that path to getting your real prize. It's a struggle going uphill, but as you get higher and higher, the blessings start coming down. So don't forget your supplier. Whether it's you or anybody else you look up to, make sure sometimes you got to lose what you think you have to stay true. Now, these things take time, and you can't really debate this, but never give up the hope that you are destined for greatness. So if you feel like it's taking a long time and you're tired of waiting, always remember you're probably a star in the making. And that's that first piece. So I'm kind of keeping it on that same wavelength, just kind of these like this is the living room, right? We in the living room. These are thoughts that happen in your living room when you're sitting by yourself, not doing anything, just chilling, and then your brain starts to attack you a little bit. Um, this next piece is called wrecked identity. So I look back on my formative years and realize how much I was influenced by my peers. While I was away from those peers, my whole life was dictated to me by religious leaders. At some point, I thought that I was better than those leaders. Then I wanted to use more of the space in between my ears. But due to the jeers of my peers of religious leaders, never shifted my brain out of that low gear. As I started getting up in years trying to handle my way through life and the way the life steers, understanding that money on trees doesn't just appear, I started to pay more attention to my financiers, and with school and childhood in the real, I wanted to pay more attention to my career. A lot of time was spent, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I do my best to guidelines strictly adhere, but for more and more work, I would volunteer, hoping maybe one day my job would classify me as top tier. But while I was doing my best to persevere, the job was starting to call in an auctioneer. And once that promise of a career became insincere, I had to come to grips with a future that was completely unclear. As I break into a new frontier, I return to the trusty grasp of my peers. But I had to realize those friendships were really sheer. In hard times, those friends disappear. My dreams and my relationships interfered, and clearly, some were just around for the beer. I shed another tear. Reality hit me like headlights on a deer, but with me putting on a clean veneer. But behind my back, my name they smear. Man, I wish some of them would reappear, because best believe I'd swing on them like a chandelier. But enough of them names that I used to endear. A new stage in my life I'm trying to pioneer. I keep my past at home like a souvenir, anticipating new awards at my world premiere. And I'm expecting all of y'all to cheer as I greet the future, looking sharp like the tip of a spear. And that there is your wrecked identity. It's a coming of age, even though I'm 32. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Um, Going to this next piece here. I forgot what it was called, but I believe it's literally just kind of getting into that point. Oh, there it is. Okay, I remember what it was now. Next piece, I was talking about church a little bit, and it's one of the things I felt, even though you always have to have a relationship with God in some way, shape, or form, it's a good idea to, think about what you're actually doing sometimes. So I'm gonna just get into that right quick. So they say if you're scared, go to church. But sometimes being stuck in church is the worst. Isn't it strange that the safest place you can be is ultimately also the scariest? If you don't follow the rules of the church, you won't last. You get thrown out. You're an outcast. To thinking about standing between those forward walls, you got to make sure you are following all of those laws. While the preacher stands on the pulpit and reminds us that the devil comes for us all at the same time, the temptations are inside that building. Even though they're supposed to be sacred from floor to ceiling, and even if you don't have that holy feeling, you still pray to be blessed, God willing. It's all good. Do right and you'll be promised heaven or this earthly realm, but a slight slip up, you can end up in hell or Sheol. That's eternal destruction. Put so much fear in you and you forget how to function. And as you scramble in fear for search of direction, turn to the pulpit, listen to that preacher's inflection. Hand over your money and turn to the book of Acts. Does that preacher have a new suit? That's right, they don't pay tax. So as much as he sends back a nod and a wink, you know those churches, businesses, a lot more lucrative than you think. And while the police and government around the world continue to harass us, I don't see a whole lot of preachers speaking to the masses. And while all these people are dying from diseases today, it'd be nice to have a few open it up and pray it away. Now, I'm not bashing any individual religion, just trying to point out which one is worse. But people need hope. And if you're scared, go to church. And that's that piece right there. Uh, so many different ways of thinking about certain things, but you got to bring it back to yourself sometimes. And I think that's kind of the important part. Um, and we're going to get into why I love poetry, why poetry has become somewhat of a important piece to me outside of everything else that was going on in my life at the time. And this is why I love poetry, why it means so much to me. It's a little bit better than rap because I'm not limited to a 16, but it's a hell of a lot more fun than public speaking. I understand why I can't be a slam poet, though. I can't be a battle rapper, though, because it requires way too much energy. And my main quality is laziness and lethargy. But trust me, when it's time to get busy, you can absolutely trust me to release my energy. But in reality, I'm real low key. I haven't figured out how to conjure up that animosity. And you can always get to me by challenging me competitively. No, we don't put anybody's life in jeopardy, but I get you hyped. You should take that as complimentary. And if you lose a contest of popularity, don't take it seriously. You're still a footnote in somebody else's documentary. But once the fun of playing leaves, it's just petty bickering, and you'll never see someone lose interest as quickly as me. I'm too cool. I'm so nonchalant. I don't dignify these schoolyard taunts with a response. And I can't always give out my lines for free. I got to save them for some real threats like Damian Rucci. But I don't want no smoke. I just became a poet. So I don't want to get my pass revoked. But I know why people don't come around. They happy with their 100 followers they got right now. They won't perform in front of a full crowd like the poetry at the port playground. You think you would use this chance to explain your platform, but some people would rather take it to heart and bark in the dark than come out and weather the storm. I'd rather sit back and recline with some wine than put stress on myself trying to find out the best punchline. So please tell me why I should waste my time going back and forth unless I'm making a dime. Now, I'm an old rookie. I'm trying to get to my prime, so I got to be selective with these words of mine. And if I'm meant to give it up, the Lord will give me a sign. But until then, I dust off my shoulders and continue my grind. And to my journey, I hope you all subscribe. Check out Evolu Culture. Y'all know that's my tribe. And if there's one thing we came to provide, we want y'all to catch these vibes. Because you know we going from global to globally recognized, baby. I'm trying to think. Hey, how much more time do I got? I got one more piece I might want to do. One more? I'll do one more. All right. And this is just me being arrogant because I can, because I want to. I am limitless. I find myself staring at the clock trying to figure out where all the time goes. I'm 30 plus, and I had so many trips around on this planet, I feel like I haven't figured out what my purpose is yet. And yet my mind exudes pride and arrogance. I do and don't care about how I dress. Forward and backwards describes me at best. Contrary, I must confess. Are we limited by the hour when the clock struck? Nah. Are we limited because time is a human construct? Nah. It's the clocks that we watch and the watches that we trust that make us rush. Time does not dictate whether you are useful or worth less. See, worrying about time is what got you into this mess. I have no limits in my eyes because once again, we going from global to globally recognized. See, I won't let your words define me. I will speak my own truth, so you gonna listen to me. I'm not a part of your system, so don't try to box me. I am limitless. Call me Keith Lee. But instead of basking in my glory, you would rather I simplify my story? Nah. So let me tell you one. I have so many electronics in my room. I have so many little power lights in the dark. My room looks like a solar system at night. No matter how much electricity I eat, I make sure that they're pointed away from me so I can still get my sleep. I say that to tell you that I exude my own energy. So when you try to put me in a box, it's I'm powerful. So doing that is akin to killing me slow. And all you gonna get from me is a power saving mode glow. So when everybody tells me to know my limits, I tell them, no, that's your limit. I still got a long way to go. Sam, thank you very much for the platform. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
I have to practice more. I'm here after work 7 hours. Everybody's doing that. I have no excuse. I need to read more. I need to learn more. It's my jam. I'm out here. I'm still doing it. I appreciate the platform. I'm gonna get better. I promise you.
That was amazing, though. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for helping me when I butchered the name like 80 times. Evolu Culture. I got this now.
Got it. Hopefully everybody gets it now.
Before you go, anything you want to say to the people?
Keep a lookout. My personal social media, Don Krypton, every single platform. There's a lot coming probably within the next month that I can't say anything about right now. If y'all want to catch the next Evolution Dope and Mike, which is our premiere show in Newark, it is on the 12th of March. There are very limited tickets, so get your ticket now if you're planning on going. And that's it. We here for the second Renaissance Arts. We here for the New Jersey Poetry Renaissance. We ready to go, Sam. I'll see you there.
I'll see ya. All right. We've got one poet left, and it is a person I am ecstatic to introduce. A man who goes by many names. He goes by one name, but I'm gonna make it seem like he goes. I'm trying to make him sound amazing because he is. Truth is, I've been performing with this next poet for what feels like forever. And it's great to see him kicking butt, taking names, and continuing to be awesome. With that, I cannot wait to welcome to the stage Cord Moreski. Cord is a poet from the Jersey Shore. He was the host of the poetry series Words on Main, R.I.P. Words on Main, I miss you, R.I.P. Dinos. And the virtual poetry series, the Couch Poets Collective. When he's not writing, Cord waits tables for a living and teaches middle school children that poetry is awesome. His latest chapbook, Confined Spaces, was released in February of 2022. That's this month, by Two Key Customs. And you can follow Cord at the website, cordmoreski.com. Link is in the comments. So please welcome to the stage the one, the only Cord Moreski. Hi, Cord.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm great. I was trying to come up with a nickname for you, and my brain just didn't do it.
Well, my name's Cord. Maybe call me like Bungee Cord. That's pretty good.
I like it.
We can go with that.
I'm sticking with it. I like it.
Yeah, let's go with that one.
It is good to have you. The floor.
Good to be here, man. Thanks. So thank you, and I want to just say thank you for tuning in. So yeah, I'm gonna read some poetry. I'm gonna read some new ones from my new book that I just put out on Monday called Confined Spaces. But before I do that, I'll read an old one. I usually start off with this one. Eventually, I'm gonna retire it, but not yet. So anyway, the poem's called Slobberknocker, and it's about wrestling as a kid. My brothers and I used to love wrestling, and when our parents weren't home, we used to break things in the house. It was like middle school, and my dad had this wonderful recliner that he loved, and I think you know what's going to happen to that. So I want to dedicate this first one to Zoe, to Deadpan, to Damien, and Don. You guys are fucking awesome. This one's called Slobberknocker. Before we discovered the magic of pocket lighters, punk rock music, or even tattooed women, my two younger brothers and I praised the wrestlers we saw on cable television. And each Friday after middle school, we paid our respects by emulating them. Andrew was always Mr. Snake, the sidewinding southpaw from the rocks of Nevada. Brandon, on the other hand, preferred to be the artist known as the Freaky Furnace, while I saw more of myself in the Luchador, Elgato the Victorious, as I stood shirtless with a canary-colored book sock over my head like a burlap bag. There, before both parents came home from work, we defied the notion that wrestling was staged, with broken bed frames, leaning sofas, and bathroom sinks that collected the aftermath of bloody noses. Even our pet Labrador retriever found himself sinking his teeth into our forearms. Then, one afternoon during the epic favorite son match, Mr. Snake fell victim to my dreaded ankle lace. And as I waited for him to submit, I sat in our father's prize upholstered armchair. It was an anniversary gift, powder blue, the nailhead trim and legs painted an espresso finish. It was the only piece in the furniture in the house that wasn't obliterated. But when I turned my attention to the couch adjacent to me, the last thing I saw was a freaky furnace crashing down on us like a warhead. And once we managed to find our feet, our father's chair had collapsed into itself. Legs, coil springs, and armrests all heaped together along the carpet floor. Nobody said anything for a while until our father finally walked in the house and immediately paused at the scene, his reaction flushed on his face. "Who did it?" he demanded. "I want to know right now, who did it?" We each looked at each other, and in a desperate plea, my brothers and I had no choice but to tell the truth. It was the dog, we confessed, our tails dropping between our legs like smoking revolvers. Thank you, guys. So yeah, I just put out a new book called Confined Spaces that came out on Monday through Two Key Customs, which I'm really pumped about. It's a chapbook. It's 12 poems, and the whole like theme behind it is just kind of like a confined space is an uninhabitable place to live, and I kind of compare it to everything going on in the world, and just kind of how there's people living in these confined spaces, and that's us. And anyway, this the first poem from the book is kind of a COVID poem. I mean, I wrote this a couple of years ago, but I felt like it was a good start, you know, because we were all kind of stuck. And anyway, it kind of gives you those vibes of being stuck and things happening, not just with COVID, but everything around us. So this one's called April 5th, 2020, a sign. Leaning against a warped wooden fence on the side of my apartment complex, I take in fresh air for the second time in almost 2 weeks as a radio blares above me from a neighbor's window about more cases confirmed in the Garden State, more surges of hate crimes and unemployment across the nation, more opinions disguised as facts, More news that doesn't sound so new anymore. I turn my head and look around for a sign, but there is no dove preaching hope on the power line, no sunshine escaping from the traffic of clouds, no wildflower growing out of the broken sidewalk, nothing except for the sound of another breaking bulletin and this crushed beer can left wedged at the end of the fence, shaking with the wind, rattling like my heart. This one's called China Doll. It's from my friend Ashley. Wild Horses was playing through the speaker of your cracked iPhone while you poured the last of your Tito's into go cups we stole from work, then showed me a picture of her. You were only 11, just a child and her horse when things were a lot easier to hurdle, and told me that if you closed your eyes just right, there weren't any pills or powders, any breakups or invisible scars, any empty bottles or sad country songs. It was just you and her and any goddamn sunset you wanted, welcoming you both to ride off into. Thank you. This next one is called Space Shuffle, and I was definitely reading a lot of Kurt Vonnegut when I wrote this, and it's just about the 1% leaving us all behind. This one's called Space Shuffle, and it was in As It Ought to Be magazine about a month ago. Here we go. I wonder what music the 1% will be playing on their voyage through space after leaving this warm planet behind, like some kid's father never returning after going out for a pack of smokes. Maybe it'll be disco, where they'll wear roller skates that glitter like the stars outside their space shuttle windows and dance the funky chicken or the hustle as they get their boogie on. Or maybe it'll be more of a nu metal experience, where they'll sport their backward baseball caps and break stuff like Fred Durst, while Earth in the rearview mirror turns into a sad puddle of mud. For what it's worth, I bet it'll be elevator music, though, or music for the aficionados, where they'll tap their champagne flutes to the beats of soft sounds, waiting to get off on the next floor. Thank you, guys. So usually when I read my sets, I always cover somebody. I always cover a poet. I think it's really important to share the wealth. And tonight I'm going to read a poem by a good friend of mine. He's a Pittsburgh poet. His name is Bart Solarchek. And this is a really short poem. You should check him out. He's really awesome. This poem's called Crowheart. In the rain on the wire, on the cold bare branch, shadow in the autumn sky, crow sees me drunk, calls my name like a curse. Crow heart, lonely like mine. I got 3 more poems, guys. Thank you. This one, I don't usually read this poem, but I'm going to read it tonight if I can find it. There it is. Cool. So this one is an older one, but I read it. It's about my brother. It's called Aubrey. My parents had just killed their bedroom lights when I decided to sit on the porch after supper, listening to Let It Be by The Replacements and sipping on Fat Tire in a broken beach chair. It was September, and all that was left in the shore town were locals and the subtle hints of autumn in the ocean air. That was when my little brother Andy came out of the house and introduced me to Aubrey. He told me as he took her a seat that he met her back when he was 6 years old. Andy snuck into our older sister's bedroom and saw Aubrey's reflection in posters of Ginger Spice and Belinda Carlisle, in palettes of eyeshadow and lipstick, and in the array of powder brushes and bags scattered like pirate treasure along our sister's vanity. They continued to talk in high school. He wrote love poems for her during 8th period composition class, repeating the mantra, love has no identity. Then they moved to Astoria together after college. She told him to grow his hair past his ears and down his shoulders, to drown out the sound of gossip that would be about him, to paint his fingernails blacker than the looks he would receive, to wear his thrift store dresses and stilettos better than any woman he would ever know. One day, Andy told me as we clinked our beers together, I'm going to introduce her to mom and dad, but that's whenever she's ready. Thank you, guys. I got 2 more poems. I want to dedicate this one to Sam. Thanks for having me, man. And I want to dedicate this to Scott Young. I know you're out there, and Julie and Florence. I see you guys in the comments. The one beautiful thing about doing these shows is I've always bumped into people. You know, I've been doing this for like 10 years, and people that I haven't seen in a while. It's just awesome, and I love this like whole family that we're a part of. And so this poem is about that. It's called "Where We Left Off." Before I even touched the bar counter, I ran to an old buddy of mine and immediately picked up where we left off almost a decade ago. I ordered a pitcher as we reminisced about traditional tattoos and the road trips to punk rock shows, and about the keggers we kicked the hell out of every weekend, and the 3 a.m. diner meals of black coffee and carbs topped with grease and syrup. We laughed into our glasses until they fogged, then drank the beer from getting warm. And when it was finally time to go, back to the relationships and the 9-to-5s, back to the array of bills and the uncertainties that waited for us outside these tavern doors, we left our conversation in mid-sentence so we could pick up the rest of it again the next time we got the lucky chance of bumping back into each other. Thank you. I got one more. This is the last poem in the new book. And so in the beginning, you know, you have the April poem. It's kind of about being stuck with the pandemic. And this poem is just about just trying to live your life, your best life, as much as you possibly can. And I think living is literally being able to push death out of your mind for a moment. Just hang out with people, doing the things that you love. That is what living is. And that's what this poem is about. And so I dedicate it to all of you, and I dedicate it to all the open micers. And thanks for hearing me out. This one's called Apartment Karaoke. It's for my friends Katie and Mattia. If they're listening, it's for you too, obviously. They say the world is coming to an end sooner rather than later. And I'm sure they're right, but tonight is apartment karaoke. After another double at the restaurant, after another missed family gathering, after another order ticket stabbed for people more comfortable than any of us will ever get the chance to know. You let your hair splash along your shoulders while you sing to the company of insomniacs and dreamers, burnouts and believers, with Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody, as your voice carries through the cloudy living room like confetti in the wind, celebrating another night we all forgot about death for just a little while. Thank you, guys. My name's Cord Moreski. Thank you.
Yay!
Hey, thanks, man. I love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Cord. I wasn't interrupting, right? My brain was like, I heard
that was it. Yeah, no, that was
okay,
it.
Okay, cool. My brain was like, did I ruin it? No.
No, I said I'm gonna run away.
So, before you go, I need to let you know that Aubrey is like 3 of my students' favorite poem.
Thanks, man. I get a lot of people that message me about that poem, and I'm super proud that they reach out. I think it's awesome that there's a poem for that.
Okay. I need you to know, like, you were like, I'm gonna read it, and I was like, yes.
I don't usually read it, and I don't know why. I love that poem. It's really special to me. I read it once in a while. I think that's why it's so special. I mean, they're all special to me, but like that poem is, you know, it's about my brother. So it's just like when I do it, I gotta do it fucking right, you know. There's no excuse.
So before you skadiddly daddle, any things you want to say to people? Anything you need to tell anybody?
Just thanks for having me. I'm gonna be soon posting a new poetry series in New Jersey in Asbury Park, which I probably post either tomorrow or Friday. So I'm still in the talks with the people that are doing this, but super excited about it. And yeah, Damien and I, we're not really talking much about it yet, but we're doing something special in April too. So we're gonna be living together for like a week.
That sounds
I can't wait.
Exciting.
Yeah, but I'm just happy to see everybody. So
all right, thank you again, Cord. With that, we have reached the end of our features, which means we're going to have the open mic in like 5 seconds. Before we do, I just wanted to make some quick announcements for Second Renaissance Arts, what we're doing, what we're working on, what's going on in the world. One, if you like Live from the Living Room, we're always looking for performers to join us for it. Let me know, reach out, we'll chat. Currently, we are booked through March and are beginning to look for people for April for the most part. We have shows on, let's see, Starting March 9th, we have March 9th, March 17th, and March 23rd. Live from the living room. Live from the living room will be on March 9th and March 23rd. On March 17th, we will be hosting our monthly podcast, Balcony Chats. More on who that guest is very soon. On March 20th, we will be hosting our monthly book club with Sarah. The book we're reading is On Earth, We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. It's a very good collection of poems. Sarah has told me that it's a good collection of poems. I have not read it and feel bad, so that means I have to read it for this. We've got a bunch of stuff going on. Please check to see what's going on. Check in to see what each of these poets are working on. Damien runs like 4 or 5 shows a week and is a very busy man. Cord's Cord's keeping busy. Deadpan Lizzie's always like, we're always looking for stuff and looking for things, and there's always a lot going on. So please, please, please check in. If you missed our previous live, we had balcony chats with James Ellerby on the 17th, and our last live from the living room was on the 9th. With that said, we've got 2 open micers, and if you want to join in the open mic, let us know. We'll send you a link so that you can join us here. But we've got 2 open micers, so we're going to start us off with someone who is no stranger to the stage, and I'm excited to have her. She is here. I mean, right now her camera's off, so I hope she knows I'm talking to her. But there we go. Bring to the stage. It's Jules with a Z. Hi.
Hi.
So welcome. You got 1, 2 poems, and you have some fun with it.
Okay, I just came across like some really old stuff, so that's fun, right?
Oh my gosh.
I wrote this in college, so I've actually never read it out loud, I don't think. So this is interesting. I was reading a lot of Allen Ginsberg at the time, so here we go. Heart failure. When we shorten our sentences, we cut the hearts out of our emotions, leaving scattered, broken words pulsating on the floor until they can miraculously sprout legs and walk out the door. To buy a ticket to somewhere far from here, like Las Vegas or Venus. On a clear night, I hear that you can see all the moons of Jupiter. I think how romantic as the fever boils the blood pumping through my veins like hot air into a balloon. Coronary angioplasty. Another painted smile twists my arteries into an inflatable party favor on a park bench. Flying kites is the last thing I want to do on a day like today, when my horoscope forecast partly cloudy with a slight chance of tears. Full speed ahead, but the E lights up on my dashboard, and honest old Abe doesn't get you very far these days. I'll be sure not to get off at exit 18 this time. That's where I got my heart crushed with one deafening blow. This isn't working. Who gives a damn about sticks and stones? Contractions still hurt. A mess of mangled veins, losing blood in spurts of anxiety. I don't need 3 words for validation. Emotions would be easier to read with my nearsightedness. The gears are corroded and I can't brake anymore. So I'll keep driving with my turn signal on until the engine stops. I know it shouldn't feel like anything, but it feels like an E thing. And I'm too far from home. And I have another one, but this is a newer poem. Poet, you are not an imposter if you speak your truth. You are not an imposter if you do the impossible and help others face theirs. As ink creeps into the crevices of our fingers and wrinkles, and we make a mess of written pages, dirty fingernails give away the suspect. We are guilty by association, incriminated by our own admissions. We're speaking what others are only thinking. We are their mouths and ears, microphones and speakers. We the secret keepers, we the not so silent weepers, we the tenacious truth seekers. You can be that mouthpiece even if you too are struggling to find peace. Your heart is soulful. That's what makes your art soulful. Sorry, my computer's jumping. I need you to understand that you are necessary for the survival of humanity. You're a surgeon without borders. Your pen and paper are your scalpel and forceps with enough force and context. Your words decide what happens next. So say it, just get it off your chest. Let the ink run out till there's nothing left. Shout it out until you lose your breath. Your ink blot could be the blood clot that stops the bleeding, keeps the rabid thoughts from seething from the masses, keep them from speaking out their asses, that helps the hopeless, gets the meaning, that makes the frigid catch a feeling instead of a cold, clammy outlook on a world unshook by their existence. Speak louder. They're listening. Okay, that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm kind of mad that you can read stuff from college and it not be garbage, because I look at what I wrote in college and I'm mad at myself. So,
like I said, like a lot of Allen Ginsberg. So like the way I wrote it is like very Ginsberg-y. And there was another one I didn't read that was kind of maybe I don't want to read this one out loud.
Well, I'm impressed. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
All right, we shall see ya. All right, we've got one more open micer left. Another name that like you see everywhere, and so I'm very glad that she's joining us tonight. Welcome to the stage, Florence Suzanne. Hi.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. I want to apologize for my voice. I haven't spoken to literally anyone today. I am alone with no children today, so I haven't opened my mouth yet. So
that sounds like the dream. So
I don't know what to do with myself.
All right.
So this one I have never read before. Also, I'm from Allentown, Pennsylvania. Ignore the water bottles in the background. I didn't drink any of them. So this one is one that I've posted to my Medium, but I've never, I think, actually read it. So I want to give a little like beforehand. I have ADHD and schizophrenia, so my brain kind of like is all over the place sometimes. So you kind of gotta like forgive how it jumps from place to place, because I wrote it in the way that my brain thinks. So this one is called ADHD Schizophrenic Brain Leak. There is a leak in my roof. I know there is a leak because I had to put down a bucket to catch the water before it soaked more of the carpet. But that doesn't stop me from standing in the doorway, arms outstretched, watching the water pool in my hand. This dingy orange, I used to have a goldfish, but one of our other fish ate him. Can fish be cannibalistic? Everyone says that the wall-sucking fish we had in the tank above the bar, squishy, improperly resin-sealed bar littered with crescent moons from fingernail squish tests. Everyone says that the fish couldn't have eaten the other fish. But that wouldn't explain how they kept getting ripped to shreds. Eventually, we decided it was just too cruel to send those little creatures to their doom. I remember the pistachios I used to eat with my cousins at that bar were really hard to get open. Were they my cousins? My friend? I can't quite remember. I should ask my mother. She would know. There is a leak in the roof, and I know now that it has been fixed. But every time it rains, a droplet, a drizzle, a fucking monsoon, I hear the leak. I can hear the rushing of water, the collapse of the ceiling as clearly as I can hear my children scream in the middle of the night, so I run to check on the children, to check on the leak. But all is quiet once I reach the hall. There is no water. There are no tears. It's just me, standing in the dark, desperately trying to remember why I got out of bed in the first place, so I crawl back into bed. My fiancé wraps his arms around me. I used to have an orange goldfish named Leo, I whisper to him. That's so neat, baby. Were the kids okay? Ah, shit, yes, the children. The moment they crash back into my forethought, the screaming returns, rearing its ugly, loud, maddening head. I am lost. Between the sounds of the water pouring down the walls, my children screaming, and the last simple thought before I force myself to drift off as my eyes close, did that shadow move? What did I put in that spot that could possibly look like I need to sleep? I just need everything to be quiet for once. And that's all I really have today, because this was more or less just like a random why not kind of thing. You are on mute, honey.
my life. This happened like 4 times tonight, and I need to remember that I auto mute. Because unlike everyone, I have like it doesn't automatically mute me back as the host. Moral of the story is thank you so much. Even if we're just like a random why not thought, it's always good to have you here. Thank you so much for being here, and
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
it was great. Enjoy the peace and quiet.
I won't. It's never
oh,
quiet in here.
fair. Enjoy the lack of other peace and quiet.
Got another like half hour, I think.
Oh, wonderful. All right. Thank you so much. All right. With that said, that was live from the living room. Unless someone suddenly just up and registered for Mike, but I don't believe anyone did last minute. Perfect. My name was Sam Rubenstein. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who joined the open mic. Jules and Florence, I want to give a huge shout out to all of our amazing features. Deadpan Lizzie, Corbin Reski, Damian Rucci, Don Krypton, Zoe Seitz. Thank you to everyone that helps make this company still function. If you like us, see what we're doing, go to our website, subscribe, join an event. Help us out. Thank you all, and it has been a pleasure.